When and when not to raise money for your startup slash company, whatever stage you might be right now. Okay, so I want to talk about something that's dear to heart to me because it's something I was actually talking with one of my friends yesterday, Kevin, and I was basically kind of trying to get his point of view on this, and also I did some general research to get other point of views from people who are experienced this in the industry, and also my personal point of view. Now, the reason why I make this video is because the question crossed my mind. And that's kind of how I make my videos. I experience something and I kind of end up explaining it afterwards in this series we have here. So on today's Entrepreneur Vault 100, I want to talk about that exact topic. When to raise money and when not to raise money. So when / not to raise money. Okay, I'm not sure if that title is going to work well, but I'll think about something better. But basically, there's a couple of things you need to know, right? When you're raising money, let's talk about the basics. You're giving up equity for investors to put money in your company. Now, sometimes there are options where you do not give up equity, but you're taking a loan instead, right? But in general, it's better for you, depending on the case, but for me personally, it's better to get an investor who wants to get equity instead, because that means they believe in your company long term and they're willing to be like, hey, I want to get a piece of this because I see the company going very far long term. And also when they're invested in you in equity wise, then they want the company to succeed. So you know what I mean? It's kind of like a person in your life. Would you want a person who's just there for you to just make sure you just do what you need to do for them, or a person who's very invested in your life and they also do still want you to take care of them? That's more of a neutral relationship, right? But also sometimes you might not want to give up equity because you see you can be able to just deal with the loans or whatever line of credit thing they might end up giving you. But in general, we'll talk about this and based in equity, since that's the most general line that most people usually go towards. Line, path, same thing. And well, unless it's a crooked, anyway, let's not get too detailed there. So basically, what you want to do is actually look at where you are right now as a startup. Now, if you are really, really early, definitely don't try and raise money, because here's the thing. If your company is really early, you haven't proven your model very well, and you try to raise capital, chances are you're going to give up more equity, okay? Because investors are going to be looking at it based on risk. If a company is already getting traction, you already have users, you already have metrics that you can be able to project where your company is going to be at, where it's going to be able to generate revenues, then you can be able to actually provide some, more factual-based projections. It's still projection, but it's more based on facts, and also you've been able to be in the market, you experience different things, so your projections are going to be much better. So if you look at companies like Facebook, Snapchat, and etc., all these different companies, in the beginning, they were kind of bootstrapped by the owners themselves. And then from there, then they raised capital later and they didn't have to give up as much equity. Now, what you can be able to do is, if you really do need to raise money, then it's probably best for you to maybe sometimes raise it from family and friends who might be willing to, believe in your vision in a much bigger way without eating up your entire equity of the company. But also at the same time, you can be able to bootstrap yourself, hustle, side hustles, anything you can be able to get cash on and then put it in the company. That's kind of what I've been doing with my partner right now. We just basically hustle, and then put cash in the company. Hustle, put cash in the company. I'll talk about that later in the video, right? So the first thing you want to make sure is don't be too early, because the earlier you are, higher the chances are that they're going to take more equity in your company. Now, the next number 2 thing is have traction. Have a proven track record. Kind of going to the early thing, don't be too early. When you have traction, when you have proof of something happening, people will be willing to invest more cash into your company, and also they're able to believe in the vision more because it's all about the action. Now, I hope you noticed here I didn't talk about a business plan. I don't care about business plans. Okay, I do care about business plans, but business plans are basically anyone can come up with a great business plan, okay? But not many can be able to execute it, okay? So you know what I'm basically saying here? I'm basically saying a plan is a plan until it's face contact with the enemy. It's a different story. So you want to make sure you have that kind of face-off with the market before you actually start asking for money, because people are going to be like, so you're just basically saying this and this and this is going to work perfect? Matter of fact, even Apple, even big companies like Google that have business plans, their business plans changed and shift in 5 years, because we live in a time and age where technology is very rapidly moving fast. Industries are getting disrupted, so your business plan might not end up being what you actually end up doing. I've experienced this multiple times. To this point, these days, I don't even sit down and spend hours and hours on days on trying to write a business plan. I just go in, okay, we know our general market scope, we know what product we're building, okay, we know the demographic, boom, let's build it, and we'll learn more things later once we start actually getting in the market. And then from there, you create a business plan, and then you create your investor package to be able to show your investors. So the second stage here is make sure that you actually understand what's going on in your market. Now, the third step is this. Do you really need investors? Because this whole entire time here, I've been talking about the different things that investors might be able to do or what they might be looking at. But the third thing still ties, even if you're getting investors or not, you still have to go through those first two stages, right? And the third stage is when it comes down to, are you going to take an investor or not? Some companies do need investors and some of them do not. Okay, so my friend Kevin yesterday told me, like, look, if you're trying to build a big company, then get investors, get a venture capital. They can be able to put a lot of money in your business so you can be able to grow faster and conquer the market and get to the level you need to get to. So it does come down to the size of your company. It's kind of like the whole analogy that I gave a while back, which I borrowed from somebody else, by the way. I don't want to take full credit for it. And it's basically the whole thing. You'd rather own a piece of a watermelon than an entire grape. So it's the same scenario here. If you're trying to make a grape company, then it's better for you to just own it yourself, right? Because you don't have to get too big. And if you're trying to own a watermelon, chances are you might need to give up slices of those watermelons to get some people who can help you get to watermelon size. So it comes down to your size of the company, how big you want to get. If you want to get really big, then yes, get some venture capital to come in or get an angel investor. But at the same time, it does not necessarily mean that you need to get investors, okay? Because you can still be able to bootstrap and grow your company pace by pace, patiently, until it's a very huge company. And then you can be able to maybe get some capital later on where you have more leverage. So this is the next piece it comes down to. Can you be able to build it without investors? Can you be able to scale without investors? Now, this is the part where it might get a little bit complicated because we live in a culture and time and age where a lot of companies are raising money, right? You hear about it on Africa's Forbes story in the 30s. You hear on here, this news outlet, TechCrunch. You hear about it in Africa Tech, whatever it might be. And you're like, oh my gosh, we're raising money. I need to raise money. And you can get caught up in that and you think that you need to raise money to build a good company. Well, here is the truth, my friend. Many companies have raised money and many companies who've raised money have gone under. Many companies have not raised money and they've gone under. The correlation is not just about the money you raise, it's about you actually building a business. So if you have a business and you have the cash to invest back in your company, then you can still be able to grow it by yourself. Okay, by yourself, I don't mean you individually, but you and your team, right? You can still be able to bootstrap and keep doing it. And you can still be able to scale it, okay? So you want to make sure that you're able to actually see where you're trying to go. Now, this topic is very complex. That's why there was no definite answer of a yes or a no. It was more of a yes, a maybe, or a no, because you are the one who's determining what your company is going to be doing. Now, here's the next thing. Here's a little bit of a catch. Okay, you want to hear a little bit of a catch? In this time and age, entrepreneurs are able to go into serial entrepreneurship. What this basically means is maybe your first venture might not raise money. It might end up being the company that ends up investing in your next company. You guys catch what I just said there? Because here's the thing. Your first company can end up becoming the VC for your next company. It's kind of something where I'm experimenting with right now. And I'm trying to see how that's going to work. Now, the reason why that works pretty well is because your first company may end up being a grape. But this little grape can be able to be making $500,000 a year. And that $500,000 a year, you can be able to reinvest $250,000, maybe $150K into your next venture. You see what I'm trying to say here? Compared to you having to go raise $250K, giving up 5%, 10% equity of your company. Now, of course, using this method means you have to be more patient. You have to play the game more long term. Now, a good example of a person who did this was Elon Musk. Now, of course, Elon Musk with PayPal, they did raise money. But Elon Musk basically used the money from PayPal to end up investing in his other three ventures, as you know them, SpaceX, Tesla, and SolarCity. And those companies was able to have more equity stake and be able to raise money way later, because actually in the beginning, nobody believed in his vision of Tesla or SpaceX. You're like, you're crazy, it's not going to work. So he had to invest all his $100 million into the company. But anyway, that's another example of what I mean by doing that, okay? And the other thing is this, okay? When you're trying to raise money, just get down to the core of why you need it. Please don't raise money for clout. Okay, you know what I'm trying to say here? I believe that's what our generation calls it, clout chasing, whatever it might be. Don't raise money to get a press release. Don't raise money because everybody's raising money. Don't raise money because it seems cool. Don't raise money because you're like, I need money. If you're raising money, the company is going to tell you if you need to raise money. The company is going to tell you when you need to raise money. Listen to your company and don't listen to the media. The media is always going to tell you to raise money because guess what? They want you to do that. That's what you see. You see big press releases. You never see big press releases of somebody like, this young man here bootstrapped, this young gal here bootstrapped his company, grew it to a huge company, and was able to invest in different things. Mostly right now in this time and age of startups, we just hear like X company raised $1 million, X company raised $20 million, X company raised the most funds in Africa, X company, like all these different press releases are coming out and they're pushing in your face, and you feel like you need to be in the same cool club of raising money. But here's the thing though, go look at the fact sheet. Go look at the history of those companies. Now look here, I'm not dissing because I have not gotten to that level to be able to talk that big, but I'm just talking facts here for a second. A lot of those companies that raise money in African startup space, where are they now? You ever thought about that question? Because lots of them raise money from, I believe it was around 2014 is when a lot of capital started pumping into African startups. Where are they now? There's only a few of them that are still kicking right now. And there's a lot of them that also never raised money. They're still kicking. Okay, so I want you to just have patience and make sure you pay attention to your company and your business. Raising money is not going to mean that you will become successful. And at the same time, not raising money is not going to mean you're gonna become successful. It's a very complicated road to pick. That's why it's very unique to every individual. That's why even I and myself, I just told you here, I'm bootstrapping right now, but I do plan on raising money later. But right now, I want to have as much leverage as I can in the game. I hope that made sense. This video was like, there's no definite answer to what needs to be done here. It's more of like, here are all the different things different entrepreneurs have done. What path are you going to take, or what path was chosen for you and your route to your destiny of building your company? And that's why, even when I was talking to my friend yesterday, he was like, hey, look, you can bootstrap it or you can raise money. And a lot of investors will tell you the same thing. There are some investors who will be honest, who'll be like, hey, dude, you're already making money. You can invest back in and grow the company. Just be a little bit more patient, okay? And venture capitalists, when you come in the beginning, they want 20%. Venture capitalists are called venture capitals because they take equity, large equities, okay? They want a big chunk. So make sure you play the game safe. Make sure you know what you're doing. Make sure to, after you watch this video, please don't just be like, oh, Steve said that, so it's got to be like that. No, go research. Take some time. It's a big decision if you're trying to raise money because you will have to put a lot of time into it, get investors. And once again, before I even go, let me wrap up this video by saying this. As soon as you raise money, it's not just your company anymore. You have people involved, okay? It's kind of like getting in a relationship. As soon as you get in a relationship, it's not just about you anymore, okay? It's now about you and your partners. Okay, you have to have responsibilities. You have to answer them. If the company's not doing well, you have to be answering to them. There's a reason why Elon Musk right now, he's like, I want to take this company private because I'm sick and tired of the stock market and all this criticism coming in and left and right when I'm trying to build my company differently. The same thing with Jeff Bezos, who did it wonderfully well. Back then, a lot of like stock news, whatever outlets are like, Amazon is doomed, it's gonna go under. And Jeff Bezos was like, screw those guys, focus on the long-term game, we'll be fine. It's a good thing Jeff Bezos had investors who believed in his vision of long-term. If they did not, they could have sucked the money out of his company. It would have been harder for him to scale. So you want to make sure that when you go into this capital game, make sure you bring your A game. Because out there, they're going to be comparing you with everybody else. Once you raise money, you are out in the public. But it's better for you to stay private and low-key just a little bit. When you come back out there, then you can take some punches in the market. And you can take some punches as well. All right, thank you very much for watching this video. It was long. I believe it was long. Why was it long? Because I had a lot of things to talk about. And also, it's something that I'm going through right now and also still experiencing and learning. So I'll probably definitely make another video later about this and follow up. But other than that, thank you very much for watching. And I hope to see you on another episode of Entrepreneur Vault 100. I don't talk this much, okay? I know I talk a lot of my videos, but I'm a very introvert person, so I'm sorry my words are running out of me. So I'm gonna just end the video right now. Peace out. Let's see you in another episode.